This is Fred Ricciani of TSC News. I'm here to recap a long, exciting, wacky, head-scratching WWE SummerSlam pay-per-view. The biggest party of the summer. The biggest pay-per-view of the summer. The WrestleMania of the summer. And in some ways, the summer bummer. Now, this show began at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It ended 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I got to say, I was a little scared because the last few months since WrestleMania, these pay-per-views have gone long. For whatever reason. I don't know whose bright idea was it to say, hey, let's make these pay-per-views go longer. Especially when we have a 3-hour Raw. And now a 2-hour SmackDown following Raw. It's preposterous. It's insane. It makes no sense. So, here I was, panicking. Freaking out. Because it was around 10:30 something that Roman Reigns and Rusev came out for the U.S. title match. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Oh my God. Instead, they got into a schmaz. They got into a brawl. Roman Reigns took out Rusev again. If he is still considered a babyface in WWE's storyline universe, I don't know what to say. He's beating up Rusev every week. He's humiliated his wife. He's humiliated Lana. I mean, what the hell? Anyway, let's get my pal Scott Anderson on the line here. We'll put his brand new SummerSlam themed avatar with his lovely daughter Brooke as luchadors. And Scott, I know you were a little delayed. I was just doing my intro to the SummerSlam recap and talking about how this was just a ridiculously long show and how for a little while I was panicking because I thought, oh my God, this show's going to go until 11:30. You were trolling me saying, I told you so. It's going to go to 11:30. But then they ended up cutting Rusev and Roman Reigns short, which actually turned out to not really be a match. We had Brock versus Orton, which I actually thought was a pretty good match and a great effort by both men, but it was a very flat ending because you see, this was a Brock Lesnar match if there ever was one. Suplexes, elbows, punches, kickouts of the F5, kickouts of his opponent in his finisher, this time with it being the RKO, table spots, and at the end, Lesnar was just brutalizing Randy, busted him open. According to some on Twitter that are in attendance at Barclays, it looks like that was real blood because he was dripping, leaking. Referees were checking on him, called the TKO finish. Hey, who knows? If it was planned to be a TKO finish, which I'm assuming it was, then you know what? Maybe it wasn't real blood. Maybe it was those blood packets that they used for Roman Reigns. Regardless, it was a crazy, epic visual, and there have been rumors running rampant that Bill Goldberg, who's on the cover of WWE 2K16 or 2K17, excuse me. Well, at least one of the cover stars. Brock Lesnar's the main one. I think for like the Legends Edition or whatever it is, Bill Goldberg's the face of that. He's also the face of their promotional push. So we heard rumors of Brock Lesnar possibly getting confronted by Bill Goldberg. What happened? Instead, he was confronted by Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon. Can you say it again, Scott? I don't think they heard you.
Oh, sorry. I said better than Daniel Bryan.
Well, yeah, because Daniel Bryan can't wrestle anymore. So Shane McMahon.
Hold on real quick, because, we're all looking forward to that WrestleMania Brock Lesnar versus Shane McMahon match now, right?
Oh, well, listen, you didn't even let me finish yet, okay? This is a great build-up to it because we had Shane McMahon just say, listen, Brock, I want to step in and check on Randy. And Brock was like, nope. And Paul Heyman's like, Shane, just leave. Just leave. Now, keep in mind, Randy was already being attended to by medical officials. So there's nothing that Dr. Shane McMahon could have done that would have made Randy Orton feel any better. Okay? Now, maybe if this was, Dr. Shelby, maybe if this was like Dr. Candice Michelle or something, then all right. But this is Shane McMahon here. So Shane's like, listen, I just want to see my guy. He's a SmackDown guy. Brock F5 Shane walks out. Paul Heyman's freaking out going, what did you do? I'm wondering, what did you do as far as the booking goes? And Shane McMahon just picks himself up, holds his chest, and goes, and just starts shaking and looking at Brock. And he does not sell this for any longer than maybe a minute before he didn't fully get up. He's moving around. His eyes are blinking. Actually, they're wide open, and he's just staring down Brock Lesnar. So, Brock Lesnar once F5'd Michael Cole, who was out for at least a month. Brock Lesnar F5 Heath Slater, who had to be picked up with a spatula off the ring. Yet Shane McMahon can somehow, some way, recover enough within 30 seconds to a minute of the F5 to at least lean up Undertaker style. Well, maybe not that dramatically, but poor man's Undertaker style, and stare down Brock Lesnar. And that was the end of the show. And the focal point was, yes, Brock Lesnar's dominance, Brock Lesnar's badassery, but it was also Shane McMahon staring down Brock Lesnar. Look, if Goldberg wasn't going to return tonight, and frankly, I don't really want to see Goldberg versus Lesnar anyway, at least have somebody else confront Lesnar. Have it be Roman Reigns. Not that I'm a Roman Reigns fan of his babyface character, but, Roman Reigns went off on Rusev tonight. He destroyed Rusev. Whatever. Do that rematch. At least that match would be good. Do something. Set up a big angle. You got a Raw-only pay-per-view as well. Do something.
Even Undertaker.
Yeah.
I mean,
what about the Demon Kane? Okay, maybe Kane would have been flat.
Big Show?
Oh, God. No, they already did that match.
Yeah, they already did Kane. Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm sorry for it. That was just a horrible ending.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a little rant here, not to cut you off, but
go ahead.
Tired of the Brock Lesnar dominance, wins, bust people's ass, part of my language, and then just walks off. It's getting old. He did it to Cena, which was great because it was Cena, but then, last year with Undertaker, and they had a great match, but then Dean Ambrose, he destroyed, and Manpreet, he on the comments here, he said it best, why build this up for 2 months just to have that ending? I almost agree that maybe it wasn't totally set up that way. It was, in my opinion, it was bad. I'm sorry, but this is getting old with Brock Lesnar. I
don't mind
this guy to be bigger than WWE, which I'm sorry, that's not right.
You know what? I don't mind him beating Randy Orton. I think he should have beaten Randy Orton. I think it makes all the storyline sense in the world to beat Randy Orton. I just think for this show, it was a flat ending, and they should have set up a big angle. And actually, what I would have done is have a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura or Samoa Joe confront Brock Lesnar. And if anybody hasn't seen Samoa Joe or Brock Lesnar before, they just got to watch 1 or 2 matches with these guys, and they'll look at them and say, damn, they're legit. Samoa Joe, while not a real MMA fighter, has a very shoot-oriented style, a very hard-hitting, believable style. Shinsuke Nakamura, maybe all around the best wrestler in the world, has been for a long time. I mean, he's definitely up there with AJ Styles and Tanahashi and guys like that. I mean, he is one of the greatest of all time, and he actually has a legitimate MMA background, and I think he actually has a winning record in MMA. Now, granted, it's not against the competition Brock Lesnar has, and I think it was in a different weight class, but still, he has an MMA background. He has that aura about him. I know he just won the NXT Championship, but still, something. I mean, even the Goldberg thing would have been cool. Even though Roman Reigns is getting booed by fans and he would definitely not be the babyface in this feud, a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar confrontation would have been cool because you know what? At the very least, that would set up a kick-ass, hard-hitting match for the next Raw pay-per-view, no matter who the babyface or heel are. But instead, you just kind of leave it flat. And the thing is, too, the perception that SmackDown is number 2 to Monday Night Raw. It was evident tonight, just painfully evident. I don't know why certain people, including perhaps Vince McMahon himself, dislike SmackDown or want to marginalize it in the eyes of fans compared to Raw. I mean, you're getting paid for not one TV property, but 2 TV properties, dude. You're getting paid for Raw and you're getting paid for SmackDown by USA Network. And SmackDown's actually been holding steady in the ratings despite having Dolph Ziggler on top in 2016.
Oh, that ain't going to happen anymore.
Yes, but I'm saying, the fact that they held steady during Olympics with Dolph Ziggler on top, that's a hell of an accomplishment for Tuesday Night SmackDown. It really is. So don't you think they'd want to build it up a little bit? Especially because you got to realize in 3 weeks, they have a SmackDown-only pay-per-view. So wouldn't you want to set that up with a big angle? Now, maybe they will. Maybe on Raw, Shane McMahon will be like, you know what, Brock? How about you come to our neck of the woods? How about you come down here to SmackDown, come to Backlash, and we'll find you an opponent that can put you in your place. And perhaps.
And who would that be?
I mean, I'd do Samoa Joe and Nakamura, but that's not something I would do in with a 1 month build on a B pay-per-view. That's something I'd do for a WrestleMania, a SummerSlam, a Survivor Series, a Royal Rumble, the Big Four. I would not do that for a BS pay-per-view. So that's why it's confusing. Do you want to really spend the money for Brock to have him wrestle on a B pay-per-view? I mean, I guess it makes sense if you want to get over these brand only pay-per-views. It does make sense to have a big match, but
it doesn't though, because if you're gonna have to bring a guy from another show in to get over your pay-per-view, that's not saying much either.
No, you're right, and it's just confusing. I mean, it's not even intriguing in a sense wow, what's gonna happen on Raw? It's more just this is confusing. This kind of makes no sense. Again, the result of Randy Orton getting his ass handed to him, I don't mind at all. In no universe does it make sense for Randy Orton right now to beat Brock Lesnar. You didn't build up Brock Lesnar for 2 years, have him break the streak, have him end up winning the Undertaker feud just to freaking have him lose to Randy Orton. I don't care if he got suspended and embarrassed the company, okay? It's their fault that they don't drug test him and legally they can't suspend him and all that stuff. That's their fault. That's not our fault. That's not his fault, okay? Is it unfair? Yeah, but life's unfair. If you're going to have Brock Lesnar lose to somebody, it needs to be somebody that you can make a huge star for years to come. That's Nakamura, even though he's not the youngest guy in the world, but he's going to be there for a while. That could be Joe, even though, again, Joe's not also the youngest guy in the world, but he's somebody that if you want to build him up immediately on the main roster, he's a guy that could believably beat Brock Lesnar. I mean, I really can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. I mean, if you turned Brock Lesnar babyface, or kept him babyface, I guess, because he's been kind of a tweener for a few years, and had a heel Roman Reigns beat him. And if you want to make Roman Reigns an unstoppable heel for a conquering babyface to come in and beat him, that'd be cool. Hell, even Rusev. If they actually had Rusev be a real heel instead of being the de facto babyface against Roman Reigns, where he's humiliated every freaking single week, that might make sense.
Yeah.
If they built up Alberto Del Rio and played up his MMA background and had him breaking dudes' arms every single week and he didn't become a dumbass and get suspended, you know what? You could build up Alberto Del Rio versus Brock Lesnar because it's believable, because he has that style, because he actually has an MMA background. So I don't know who they put him against. I mean, to me, the only logical opponents, like I said, besides, I hate to say Goldberg, because I would love to see Goldberg back. I just have no interest in that match as a longtime fan. But besides Goldberg, the only dudes that really make sense for Brock, in my opinion, and please, people, feel free to give me suggestions, are Nakamura and Samoa Joe down the road. Yeah, maybe Roman Reigns.
Let me interrupt. There's two suggestions here. One, of course, Brandon Cash says Braun Strowman, who actually was rumored to face Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Jeez.
And the other one from Us Broman says Bobby Lashley, which could be interesting, but I don't think you're getting him away from TNA.
That'd be a hell of a match, but the guy is nearing 40. He's not their guy anymore. He left on bad terms. And, yeah, he's in TNA, and he's got to deal with Bellator. And if WWE is trying to maintain a partnership, or not a partnership, but a loose, I don't know how to say affiliation, a decent relationship.
A gentleman's agreement?
Yes, a cordial relationship with the UFC. I don't think it's a good idea to sign a guy that's currently with their competition in Bellator, which is owned by their former TV partner. Also, too, that it's complicated because Viacom not only had beef with UFC for a while and vice versa, but same thing with WWE and Viacom. That was a nasty, nasty split back in the day. So those entities don't really get along so well. But yeah, in a perfect world, if contracts didn't matter and you could just pluck dudes from other companies, which just seems like WWE's doing anyway, yeah, I would love to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. That'd be a phenomenal dream match, but unfortunately, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Even Bray Wyatt wouldn't even work in this situation, who was nowhere to be seen tonight.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they teased Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton. Bray Wyatt was staring down Randy backstage on SmackDown, and they did absolutely nothing to pay that off, at least thus far.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're. I guess we'll never know, but the endings seem to be such on the fly that you almost wonder if Shane just came out and said, "You know what? Hell with it. I'll take the blow and see whatever happens.
Well, what do you mean? You think they stopped the match abruptly? You think they
it
wanted to
seemed
stop it
very
because
odd. It seemed very odd. I mean, I know Lesnar took off the gloves to make it look more real, but it just I just don't see them building this match like that to end it like that. It just ended really oddly.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? They are in New York. The athletic commission is a little wonky. I mean, you got to remember, for years, for decades, MMA was illegal.
Well, and not only that, but look at the time it ended. It was like 11:08, which is just an odd time. It's not. It's after the top of the hour, and it's nowhere near the half hour. So it was just very odd.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could have been the New York commission that said, "Hey, he's bleeding like crazy." But you know what, though? We've seen a lot of matches in New York with WWE with a lot of blood. So that'd be weird unless they change something. Because I know there was an incident with I know there was an incident with an intergender match that was going on in New York. I think the night before, or a couple nights before. I think with a gentleman by the name of Chris Levin, who was running a promotion and also officiates it. And there was some issues with athletic commission letting a woman wrestle and all this other crap. Apparently, it was complete BS on the commission's part. And you got to remember too, the New York Athletic Commission is the same commission that for years deemed, well, really it was the government, but still, the New York Athletic Commission allowed amateur MMA as long as fighters didn't get paid, and which did not require doctors or an ambulance to be on site. Yet pro MMA was illegal.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, think about that. So, but I honestly, I think it was the ending. I think it just kind of was just. It was like a lot of things tonight. I think it was just weird. I think the feeling was weird, like throughout the building. The crowd was. I don't want to say the crowd was weird. I think the reactions were weird if you're just watching at home. And
once the Cena AJ match ended, that was kind of it for the crowd. They were done.
Yeah, it was. Well, dude, I was kind of done for a while. I mean, it was.
Well, yeah, it was long. I don't know, like. Thinking about the ending, why not even have Foley come out and take the move, and that's enough. Foley, that's enough. You're hurting their guy, and you need to stop. Blah blah blah.
Well, let me stop you there. Well, let me stop you there. Mick Foley can barely walk these days, so I don't think he can take an F5.
Well, he did hit Vince McMahon with an F5 at one point.
But Vince McMahon hasn't taken the bumps Mick Foley has taken.
True.
Yeah, I don't think Mick
Foley. It was just very odd. I don't know.
Yeah, believe me, if Mick Foley could still do something in 2016. Physically, anyway, he would be. That's
he did at WrestleMania.
Oh, he used the Sacco. That's all he did.
He hit the running knee, didn't he? Well, it was kind of like the hobbling knee, but he hit it.
He was moving pretty slow. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, though.
Yes, it just I don't know.
I know what you're saying.
Very, very weird.
Yeah, would have made more sense if Raw had like a male authority figure that could actually take bumps, and then he took the bump, and then maybe Lesnar's banned or something. It's just. Yeah, it's really.
I mean, if it's going to do it like that, why not? I mean, I know. Look, I'm not saying I want to see Vince take a bump and Stephanie take a bump, but why not just have everybody come out and try to back Lesnar off?
Yeah.
They don't have to take the bumps, but just something.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. It was weird, but it's Brock Lesnar, and that's kind of what goes with it, Like Dean Ambrose talked about at WrestleMania. Their match, we all thought it was going to be unbelievable, and it was very, very, very mediocre, to say the least.
All right, there's a rumor going around that's unconfirmed, and I don't want to freaking speculate on this. And first off, all right, let me preface this by saying I think it's complete BS. All right, and I'll give my evidence in a second. But there's a rumor going around on Twitter, unverified by people that are unverified as credible. They're saying that Brock Lesnar beat up Randy Orton, went into business for himself, and they stopped this match because Brock was pissed that Randy was going to beat him, and because Randy was scheduled to win. Let me tell you something. First off, that Shane McMahon F5 spot would have never happened, unless it was planned after the match, if he went into business for himself. Okay? Second of all, Brock Lesnar's lost multiple times in his WWE career. He comes in, he gets paid, he leaves, he doesn't care. The only time he was quote-unquote difficult to work with was with Dean Ambrose, who, let's face it, Dean Ambrose for a while was being booked like a geek. Going into that match, he was being booked like a geek. And on top of that, okay, if you're Brock Lesnar and you can get millions upon millions of dollars from the UFC to fight in a few months, you are not going to take any stupid bumps or chair shots or anything else of that sort at WrestleMania. You're just not. Okay? You're just not. That's as simple as that. And Dean Ambrose is just the wrong guy at the wrong time, and that's it. And for Dean to call Brock Lesnar lazy, I mean, listen, Michael Hayes even tweeted about this, and Michael Hayes has been in WWE a lot longer than Dean, and he's been working with Brock Lesnar a lot longer than Dean, okay? And he's straight up said, and you could, honestly, if you watch any of Brock Lesnar's WWE matches, for the most part, right, the last word that comes to mind for me is lazy. So if anybody's going to bring up this rumor that Brock Lesnar didn't want to lose and went into business for himself, no. He's an MMA fighter. He's a big mofo, okay? And when he hits you with something, much like guys like Mark Henry or The Big Show or anybody that's big that has some ridiculous strength, guess what? It's going to hurt. Goldberg, same thing. You think Goldberg wanted to hurt certain guys when he was wrestling them? No. But he's just a freak. And Brock Lesnar is a freak. Okay? Brock Lesnar bloodied up John Cena too. Busted him up in their match at Extreme Rules 2012.
Well, hey Fred, take a look at the photo I'm tweeting you right now of Randy's head. There's nothing fake about that.
Oh no, of course. Oh no, I just saw it too. Yeah, I just saw it too.
Oh my goodness. But
yeah, that's a deep gash.
Let's put it this way: if Brock went into business for himself, he better be fired immediately. and you know, if it was legit, I think somebody other than Shane McMahon would have came out to stop it, don't you? I think things could have got legit at that point.
I just think it's BS. So for any conspiracy theorists, like those are the same conspiracy theorists that were like, oh, well, Undertaker wasn't supposed to lose, and like, stop, just shut up.
Now keep this in mind. You know, they could have done this for two reasons. One, because remember what Orton said, you know, he'll beat him, no enhancement needed. So Brock could have been quote unquote pissed. Mm-hmm. Second of all, they could have done this because of that, and this way it's like, you know, Brock doesn't need anything to whip somebody's butt, you know. So
or they just did it because it was a clever finish, and it's something they did in NXT before with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and it makes a lot of sense. And honestly, it's something they did early in Brock Lesnar's career with the Hardys, which honestly made him seem like a huge monster back in the day. So I don't mind it. It's a realistic finish. I don't mind it at all. I just think the ending was flat, and I thought they should have had an angle that set up a big thing for the next SmackDown or Raw pay-per-view.
What's funny, though, because you keep mentioning, well, except for just now, you're like, what's going to happen on Raw? What's going to happen on Raw? But yet we have SmackDown on Tuesday, which really more should happen on that show than on
Yeah, they're the ones that need the help. Yeah, you're right about that, because yeah, a lot happened that's going to affect the Raw brand anyway. And by the way, for those watching live, we thank you. Please feel free to click the like button and spread the good word about our recap shows. Let's go through the SummerSlam card, and then we'll answer a few questions. I know we're getting a lot of feedback so far. You know, Terrell Scott says Brock would have only walked away if Stephanie McMahon came out. Hey, man, I don't want to get slapped either. I'd run away.
That slap would knock Brock out.
Yeah. Caleb Harris says the only memorable match was Cena versus Styles. There were a few memorable matches. Doesn't mean all of them were good, but they were memorable.
Oh, tonight? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, how come they didn't do anything with Kalisto and Baron Corbin, or did they on the pre-show?
On the pre-show they had him come out and he interrupted the panel, grabbed Renee Young's mic, and he said that, you know, here I am ready to fight, and Kalisto's sitting at home nursing his injuries, and he just cut this little promo. Wasn't anything too crazy, but it was pretty good. It was a pretty damn good heel promo. I gotta say. Baron Corbin was not boring Corbin tonight. He was
hey, there you go. Baron Corbin versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
I mean, at this rate, that's all you have.
Listen, I'd rather have Braun Strowman against Brock Lesnar. At least size-wise, that's believable.
Gilbert? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. If any kids actually know what you're talking about, Scott. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get to the show. We'll recap the kickoff real quick and let's just go through this because
I missed the kickoff. I got called into work for a little bit, so you're gonna have to take it.
You didn't miss much. All right. So we had American Alpha, the Usos, and Hype Bros once again beat Breezango, Ascension, and Vaudevillains. Why they had this match on SmackDown and then at SummerSlam with the same result, only with the Usos blind tagging American Alpha and getting the pin. I don't know. It was a decent showcase. Jason Jordan looked great. Chad Gable looked great. So that's all that matters.
So you're setting up an Usos versus American Alpha feud?
I'm fine with that. Usos are a good tag team, and American Alpha's awesome. Why not?
Yeah. Okay, but that,
yeah, Sami Zayn and Neville beat the Dudleys.
Big shock.
Yeah, this was okay.
Was it the same finish that we've seen with the Dudleys where Devon hits Bobo by mistake?
I'm not going to lie. I was mentally kind of checked out. Because for those that don't know, I'm also reviewing Madden NFL 17 on Xbox One, which will be released this Tuesday. And our review will drop Tuesday midnight, right about an hour after Raw ends. My review for Madden NFL 17 drops on youtube.com/TSC Gaming. Feel free to subscribe to my gaming channel. So I was a little busy. I had the WWE Network on in the background, and I was playing the new and improved franchise mode, which is freaking awesome. If you have EA access and you want to play Madden, play it. Or if you're planning on buying it, trust me, it's awesome. I play a lot of sports games. I've had a lot of fun. It allows you to actually play only offense or defense in franchise mode, or you can play the full game. So you can breeze through it. It's a lot of fun. But it was more fun than this match. Neville got the pin with the red arrow. It's kind of sad to see the Dudley boys at this stage. I guess they're going to break them up or do something. I just feel bad because, they are a legendary tag team. I don't put them at the level of the Road Warriors. I do think historically they are kind of overrated. Nothing against them. They've had great careers. I have a lot of respect for them. I don't put them at the level of the Hardys or Edge and Christian or, some other tag teams like the Rock and Roll Express or, Road Warriors or whatever.
You're saying that the Dudleys are not above the Rock and Roll Express and Edge and Christian? Well, Edge and Christian maybe, but come on.
Rock and Roll Express were a legendary tag team.
Oh, they were the first ever. They're the reason why I started watching wrestling, but come on, man. The Dudleys are probably one of the top 5 of all time.
All right, to put them on the level of the Road Warriors as far as influential, I don't know about that. And then you look at
Absolutely.
And then you also look at like Edge and Christian. They were also great singles wrestlers, single stars.
They were, yes.
And Matt and Jeff Hardy had great singles careers as well. And the Dudleys were doing pretty well in TNA, especially Bubba Ray as Bully Ray. But again, I just think they're a little. Again, they're still an all-time great tag team. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying like. They're not. It's like when when people compared like Paul Pierce to Larry Bird. It's like Paul Pierce is definitely an all-time great NBA player, but he's not, Larry Bird. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the Dudleys had a lot to do. And again, a lot of people don't know this because it's 15 years, almost 20 years ago now. But the Dudleys had a lot to do with ECW becoming what they were.
True. But
their WWE run, while it was great. It might not have been to that level. And, they also did, with the Hardys and Edge and Christian, TLC and all that. So it's hard to say that they're not on that level. If you're going to go 1A, I can give you that. But
I don't want to go 1A. I don't know. Well, regardless, I think they're definitely one of the top 10 teams of all time. Maybe I'm overrating them. Maybe I'm underrating them. My point is, before I got on that little tangent, is that it's kind of sad to see them in this state because to me, it makes your tag team division look bad. These are what are considered legends in your business, and you're just jobbing them out like this. And I'm not saying I want them to hold the tag titles for 6 months. I'm not saying I want them to be on TV every single week. But there's better ways to utilize these dudes. And if it's splitting them up, then just split them up. Maybe you should have given them like a honeymoon tag title run when they first came back. Just to kind of get over the fact that, hey, they're a legendary tag team, tell that story.
You give it to the New Age Outlaws, you give it to the Dudleys, all right?
Yeah. Or you know what? If you're not going to use them the right way, rather than seeing this all-time great tag team be jobbers, how about you put them in NXT and have them work with some young talent and teach some of these guys how to work? You think the Authors of Pain couldn't learn from the Dudley boys?
Yeah, but they could use that right now on SmackDown, too. You look at some of them teams, like the
True, but
they're putting them in these clown matches, and Dan Foster confirms it was a miscommunication finish.
Okay, it was. All right, so I guess they're breaking up.
They could put them in matches, and we talked about that, and I know we're going to talk about NXT, but we talked about Bobby Roode being a good hand, and a good helper, which obviously they think more of him than that. But that's what the Dudleys could be to these tag teams, and they're just not doing it. They're like a goofball team, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, don't lose to Sin Cara and Jack Swagger on miscommunication. You're better than that.
Yeah. Sheamus beats Cesaro in the first match of Best of 7. Like all their other matches, this was really good. It just, nothing against Sheamus at all. Again, I'll say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's a damn good worker. He has great chemistry with Cesaro. It's a lot of fun watching these two dudes wrestle and beat the hell out of each other like two big hosses. But you have Cesaro, who is one of the best wrestlers in the world, with a clear connection to the crowd. A guy that has more of a connection to the crowd than Sheamus could ever dream of, among other people that WWE has tried to push over the years. And he is on the pre-show, losing to Sheamus.
Well, he's going to lose 2 more matches and then win 4 in a row.
Perhaps.
Spoiler alert.
Perhaps, but regardless, though. I mean, seriously.
They don't think high enough for this guy. It's just that simple.
I know, but it's unbelievable. I mean, the crowd's telling you, let's have this guy be a star. The crowd's telling you, put this guy in some big matches. And they don't listen to their audience. I'm not saying you have to have the audience book every single thing for you, but you know what? If they're handing you a guy that they want to succeed, who is ridiculously talented, he's a great wrestler. It's not like he's Santino level. Like he can work with anybody. He can have a great match with anybody. Don't you want a guy like that over? You don't need everybody that's a great wrestler to be over. But you know what? When you happen to have a great wrestler who happens to also be over, that's the perfect combination. It's stupid. We've talked about it before. I'm just going to move on because it's stupid.
You know what? Real quick. You know what they should do with the Dudleys? They should team them up with Gallows and Anderson. And I'll let you think about that for a minute.
Why?
Because Gallows and Bully Ray have a history.
Aces and eights? Oh, my God.
Sorry. I just, random thought. I apologize.
Oh, my God. Well, first off, I don't know if half the people watching this even remember aces and eights or even watch TNA, but what regard? Oh, my God.
It's been a long night. I apologize.
Oh, my God. Dude, it's been a long night and you bring up aces and eights?
No, I just bring up Gallows and
oh, my God. That was the worst stable of all time.
Dudley's versus Gallows and Anderson feud. It could actually be kind of decent.
No, it won't.
All right, moving on.
All right.
So we got through the pre-show, and then
it was Jericho and Enzo and Big Cass.
Is that what they're calling them?
Yeah. And this was the start of some really dangerous spots throughout the night.
Yeah, real quick, because I missed kind of the first 2 matches a little bit because I had my parents over and Enzo and Cass came on, and I knew my parents wouldn't quite get it, so I put it on my laptop. How was Enzo tonight on the microphone?
He was all right. He quoted Biggie. You know, he talked about more money, more problems. I had a lot of Brooklyn references. It was pretty cool. I liked it. They were really over. Went a little long for my liking, but it worked for the crowd. He came off a huge star. It was significantly better than his recent material, so I really can't complain about that.
All right.
So we had that. And they had a pretty decent match. My feed was acting wonky for a little bit from what I got to see, though, because I had to put... First, it was acting wonky on my Xbox One. Then I put it on my PS4. It was acting wonky there. Then it was acting wonky on my desktop. Then it was acting wonky on my phone. Finally, I got it to work. I saw Kevin Owens' antics where he took out Enzo and danced on the apron, kind of like how Enzo does. It was hilarious. And Jericho and KO got Enzo in a position after they took out Big Cass outside. Oh. They threw Enzo up, and Jericho gave him a code breaker.
To his mouth.
Yeah.
I did catch that.
He got the pin. It was ugly. I mean, look, the move looked great as far as effectiveness. Like, it looked like they killed Enzo. But the problem is they damn near killed Enzo. Because he flew up. Jericho only got, like, one of his knees. He could have snapped Enzo's neck. Now, look, stuff happens. You know, the Jericho and Kevin Owens are great workers. It just, you know, stuff happens. You know what I mean? But it just, man, Enzo's very lucky he did not get seriously hurt on that spot.
This is twice in 4 months now this has happened to this guy.
Yeah, it's not. He and Sasha Banks got to be very careful. And look, this was just bad luck. I don't think it was like anything necessarily he did. I mean, maybe he jumped a little short. Maybe it was just mistimed. I mean, let's face it though, he's not a great worker at all. You know,
it looked like Jericho was a little far away.
Yeah. I mean, it was miscommunication. On one hand, you know, you could say, well, they're cutting the momentum of Enzo and Cass. On the other hand, as over as Enzo and Cass are, I mean, Jericho's still one of their more popular guys. And Kevin Owens is, to me, a future main eventer, a guy that should be headlining pay-per-views on Raw, that needs to be a big player. And while I kind of was hoping for maybe, or not hoping, but expecting Enzo and Cass to beat Jericho and Kevin Owens, have them ditch the stupid comedy, and then Kevin Owens takes out Jericho the next month and sends him packing. Perhaps they're saving that for down the road. Which, if they do, that's fine. I don't see this as a long-term tag team. I don't really see this as much of a short-term tag team either, because I could see them breaking up in a month. And
just wait until the T-shirt comes out, then you know the team is over.
Exactly, like Y2AJ. And I just see, I don't know, I just see them maybe having miscommunication, losing to Enzo and Cass. God forbid they lose the next night on Raw. That would be crazy. And, although I could expect that too. And then I could see them breaking up and Kevin Owens just taking him out. Which, look, if Kevin Owens takes out Jericho, that's fine. Why not?
I was looking down and I see on the comments, Russ Burmans has the same thought as me. What about Jericho and KO for Tag Team Champions?
That'd be cool, but I just feel like Kevin Owens could do so much better at this
He
point.
could, but where he's at now,
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt, they have great. Jericho and Kevin Owens have great chemistry. So, for a time, you know what? Look at it this way:
Well,
it's better to have him in a tag team where he's winning more often than not than to do clean jobs to like Roman Reigns and then Sheamus or whoever. 50-50 booking.
Although I wouldn't mind seeing a face Kevin Owens go against the heel Rusev. I think that would be cool.
Or a face Kevin Owens against anybody. I feel like he'd be a great rebellious heel. He could be
the top. He could be the top guy. He could be what Dean Ambrose should be.
Yes, I totally agree. He's the type of guy that can kind of be like that anti-authority figure. He was kind of the anti-hero in ROH at one point, if you remember.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where he tagged Davey Richards and was against Jim Cornette, and he called Davey Richards the jiu-jitsu jack-off. That's great stuff with Kevin Owens. So he definitely can. He's already a babyface to a lot of people. So
he absolutely is.
Yeah, so down the road, yes, I would definitely love to see that, especially because he's a guy that also breaks the mold. You know what I mean? He's a kind of a heavier set guy, and he doesn't have the traditional WWE look. Like, to me, that's a great babyface, the anti-hero. We had Charlotte versus Sasha Banks for the Women's Championship. Oh my God, where to start with this match?
Yeah, you're gonna have to fill me in because I know everybody was talking about Sasha being injured, and there's more to that story.
God,
please, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like, okay, where do I start with this match? So they kick things off, going back and forth. Nothing we haven't necessarily seen before from these two. Big match feel. Very serious tone from Charlotte, very serious demeanor from Sasha Banks. And Charlotte's working on Sasha. And Charlotte, I guess, based on a few animated GIFs that Death Tall Marks DTAM on Twitter, shout out to him, tweeted, it looked like Charlotte was going for like a Roderick Strong style backbreaker, where he does like the thing on the top turnbuckle, like a backbreaker on the top turnbuckle. Yes. Yeah, but instead, Charlotte recklessly, carelessly, idiotically dropped Sasha, I guess expecting her to land on the top turnbuckle, back first. Instead, Sasha misses the turnbuckle, misses the other turnbuckles, lands right on her head, her back contorts, and she looks like she's damn near paralyzed for a second.
Oh, boy.
It was, like, I seriously screamed, what the F, at my TV. And I don't normally do that. Okay, not a lot in wrestling surprises me anymore, all right? But when I saw that, I was like, oh, my, I screamed at my TV. I thought she had a broken neck. It was bad. It was really, really, really bad. And I'm actually going to, while I'm talking about this, or actually, Scott, if you can, just browse through Twitter and see if you heard anything about Sasha Banks, if we have any updates on her injury or whatever like that. But yeah, she landed right on her head. There's a moment where Charlotte was like, oh, done effed up now. There's a moment where the referee's like, oh my God, is Sasha alive? And she was alive. She didn't move around. Credit to her for toughing through this match, getting through it. They busted their asses. They really did. But after that spot and after a spot where what's her name? Sasha went for a Frankensteiner, a top rope hurricanrana, where she also landed on her head after nearly breaking her neck.
I did see that, yes.
Oof. I'm sorry. My enjoyment in that match was gone. It was gone. Based on what we know about concussions now and neck injuries and the fact that this girl suffered multiple concussions before and takes these god-awful dives and everything else. Even Will Ospreay said, please, Will Ospreay, who's the best high flyer in wrestling today and a guy who probably should be working a safer style himself. He even tweeted, Sasha, please look back before you do a hurricanrana. I nearly had a heart attack watching that.
Wow.
Will Ospreay said that.
I don't know
okay.
So
hang on. So let me just get to the finish, and then we can rant about the safety and everything else. So they kept turning it up a notch. There were a ton of near falls. Eventually, Sasha had the bank statement locked in. Charlotte rolled her up for the pin, clean pin, and Sasha Banks was devastated, and according to those in the arena, had to be helped out of the ring by officials. I don't know what else to say other than somebody has got to talk to this girl, pull her aside, and just say, do you value your health? Do you value your life? Do you value your career? Because you're over. Because you got a great look. You got a great act. You're solid on the mic. You're damn good in the ring. But these high-risk stuff that you do are sloppy as hell, and they're going to get you killed. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of every single risk a guy like Will Ospreay takes or a Ricochet takes. I think sometimes it's a little much, and you got to take it easy. I think both guys are supremely, supremely talented. But you know what? There's an element of, for lack of a better term, safety. In a sense that these guys know what they're doing. In a sense that more often than not, yeah, there is always going to be a risk in terms of injury. But more often than not, these guys land these moves. They're all right. They're not necessarily unscathed, but they're all right, and they landed the moves perfectly. AJ Styles, a guy who takes a ton of risks, who apparently, has had, back issues and ankle issues, all this stuff like that. Even with AJ Styles, even with some of the bumps he took in his match, like, yeah, he lands on his back, and everything else, and sometimes, it's a little dangerous. He's cutting a little close, but I don't know. There's an element of, I don't know if expertise is the right word, Scott. Maybe you could fill in the blanks for me. But when you watch a guy like AJ Styles, or you watch a guy like Ricochet, or Will Ospreay, or Rey Mysterio in his prime, or a few other people like that, I mean, you get the feeling they know what the hell they're doing. Whereas with Sasha Banks, I'm not calling her a bad pro wrestler at all. But when it comes to this high-risk stuff, she's either just reckless or she's lost out there. And she probably shouldn't be doing this stuff. Or a little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think she wants to get the whole quote-unquote Divas Revolution, women's wrestling, whatever, over so badly that that's what she's willing to do.
And people are talking about the whole thing where I think PWI Insider reported that Sasha Banks has been injured for a couple weeks now, and she's going to take a little bit of time off, and that's why she lost the title, and that she's not injured tonight.
I know. I thought it was a wellness suspension.
But you know what? There was rumors she was a wellness suspension because she was taken off TV and live events. No, she's hurt according to PWI. But even though she had an injury going in here, and this was the plan from the beginning, she did not plan to land on her head. No. She did not plan to have her back contort this way. So, whatever injury she had going in, you cannot tell me as a sane human being that remotely has any type of common sense whatsoever that she did not get further hurt, taking a bump like that.
Well, I guess
unless she does all the yoga in the world. And even then.
I guess it's kind of like when you tear your MCL, the damage is done, so you can't do any more damage to it. I don't know.
Yeah, but your neck is different.
I agree.
Your neck is different.
No,
can you imagine?
I agree,
can you imagine? First off, if she had a neck injury, she wouldn't even be in that match. So.
No. Well, it's a shame. It's a shame because Vince, already dubbed her as injury prone, and yet
those are rumors.
Rumors, yes. And now look, she's injured again. So.
Well, the other injury was she's had some nagging injuries for a while, and then she had the freak concussion where the referee accidentally kneed her in the head a couple months back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this doesn't bode well for Bayley going to SmackDown. I'll tell you that much.
Oh God, no, not at all. Not at all.
Be on Raw now for sure.
Not at all. And it just, I've said it before. You guys have heard me rant about this. Okay, this isn't a male-female thing. All right, this is just a common sense thing. If Sami Zayn was taking these big bumps where he's landing on his head and he's looking like he's going to die every single time he's going to do a dive, or looking like he's going to paralyze himself, okay, I'd be saying the same thing. All right? Now, if somebody pulled her backstage and she goes, well, if the guys can do it, I want to do it. Well, you know what? Show me you can take a dive that's safer than what you've done before. Okay? Show me that you can hit a Frankensteiner without nearly killing yourself. And again, I'm not totally blaming her. I mean, Charlotte, Look, I know they're best friends in real life. I'm not hating. I know none of these girls intend on hurting one another, all right? Or any of the people in the locker room intend on hurting each other, all right? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you want to have a match where you guys come out unscathed and everybody's okay and you can pat yourselves on the back and say, we had a hell of a match, all right? I know Charlotte didn't intend on hurting Sasha. I know Charlotte and Sasha care about each other very much, but that spot was irresponsible, okay? If you have to do it safely and you have to hold Sasha and then slam her back on the top turnbuckle, even if it doesn't look as impactful as you would want it to look, guess what? At least it's safe. At least it's safe. And Charlotte, a bigger woman, more muscular woman, bigger than Sasha, giving a backbreaker on the top turnbuckle on a little girl like Sasha Banks is believable. It's believable that would hurt. Yep. It's believable anything the bigger person hitting Sasha Banks. It's just more believable. You don't have to be reckless and just say, oh, I hope I drop her here, and then like, to me, it just killed the enjoyment of the match. It really did. They busted their asses. I have the utmost respect for them. Seriously, the utmost respect for them. It was a hell of a match. But come on. Come on. Somebody needs to protect these wrestlers from themselves and just pull them aside and say, listen, we know stuff happens. It's live TV. We know stuff happens, but you got to be more careful. And you know what? If you see any guys being reckless too, like occasionally Enzo Amore, you got to pull them over and you got to do the same damn thing. And you got to say, listen, guys, okay? You want to do these spots? You want to get the big pops? You got to change up. You got to change it up. You got to be a little bit safer. Okay? It's like a coach. Sometimes a coach has to protect the player from themselves. And this is one of those times where the coach, the boss, whether it be Triple H or Vince or whoever, a producer, has to pull them aside and say, listen, you got to be careful. If we get another Sasha Banks Charlotte match down the road and they have stupid spots like this again, or Charlotte hitting a moonsault on tiny Sasha Banks with Sasha expecting to catch her
from the top rope to the floor, not the ring, by the way.
Then whoever puts that match together needs to be, I don't want to say fired, but reprimanded, whatever. Go work at a Dairy Queen. I mean, seriously. Okay, and you wonder why some of these wrestlers get injured. Or you wonder why some of these wrestlers get suspended for wellness. Well, you know what? If they're taking all these risks and trying to get noticed and nobody's producing them or advising them or stepping in and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe you don't have to do that. Well, guess what? They're going to get hurt. They're going to be banged up. And they're going to take stuff to feel better because they're on the road all the time. So, while it was a hell of a match, to me, it was a failure all around of the person that put the match together and the two people in the ring. In terms of safety. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay? And while this is technically the golden era of women's wrestling as far as WWE goes and all that stuff like that, and I know it was a different era when Trish Stratus was getting over and she also had model looks and became a damn good pro wrestler herself, but Scott, do you remember any time when Trish Stratus had to take crazy bumps like that?
Nope. Well, maybe a couple of her matches with Lita had a couple good bumps. I wouldn't say crazy, but
exactly
good bumps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if she did take big bumps, did she take them in every single match?
No, but I'll say this too. Trish and Lita, yes, Trish is smaller, but they were sized up pretty good. Charlotte isn't a big girl by any stretch, but Sasha's tiny, and it doesn't always gel well. That's the issue. You want to let Bayley do the moonsault off the top rope onto the floor, fine, but Charlotte's a little bit bigger. And like I said, she ain't big, but look at Sasha. She's like,
she is big. She's muscular. She's built. Right. She's a big.
I mean, Sasha's 5'1", 102 pounds.
I don't know what Sasha's official weight and measurements are. Maybe Wikipedia has that. But
yeah,
but regardless, it's like okay. She's 5'5". She's 5'5", and she's got to be like I don't know what her weight is. It doesn't say her weight on here, but 100 build weight's allegedly 114 pounds.
Not a chance.
regardless, she's tiny. She shouldn't be taking those kind of bumps. And I mean, most people shouldn't be taking those kind of bumps. Let's face it. Just be responsible when you're in there, man. Be responsible. You have a responsibility to yourself. You have a responsibility with your opponent. You know, people get on Bret Hart a lot for being bitter and complaining a lot. And let's be frank, he does complain a whole lot. And unfortunately, these days come off very bitter. But if there's one thing that you should listen to in regards to Bret Hart, it is safety. Because there's not a lot of people that Bret Hart injured in his career. Probably 1 to 2, perhaps 0. A lot of people can learn from that. And people talk about Shawn Michaels and want to be like Shawn Michaels. Watch a lot of Shawn Michaels matches. A lot of his bumps were actually pretty safe, especially by today's standards. All right, that's enough of that. You guys heard my rant on Raw. You guys heard my rant here. I'm over this. I don't know. It pisses me off. I don't want to see people get hurt. All right, I've seen too many people get hurt. You got friends that are wrestlers. We just saw Daniel Bryan have to retire at a young age. You know, we've seen Nigel McGuinness have to retire. You know, it's not just because Daniel Bryan's moved on and, well, not really moved on, but, you know, career-wise had to move on and general manager of SmackDown and all this other stuff. Doesn't mean his life is great. I mean, he's lived a blessed life, but it's still kind of a travesty that he ended his career at 34. It's still sad.
Well, he said he basically had a breakdown after he had to retire. So.
I mean, you know, it's still sad. It's a part of his life that he's never going to get back. You know, I don't want that to happen to her. That's all, you know? We had Miz retain the Intercontinental title against Apollo Crews. This match went only 6 minutes. Weird, abrupt ending. Apollo Crews went for some type of, I guess, like a splash in the corner. Miz moved out of the way, threw Apollo into the steel pole. They had like a bigger pole than usual, like some type of like big contraption with.
Yeah,
it looked like pyro, right? Or like like LEDs or something.
Well, it had the LEDs, but the tops had like caps on them, like you'd almost see. I don't want to say cane pyro, but cane pyro.
Yeah, so he ran into that. Miz hit the skull crushing finale. I don't really mind Apollo Crews losing if it's a way to kind of build him up and say, hey, this young upstart suffered his first setback. But the fact that he had it against the Miz, who I think is a great act, I just don't think he should be Intercontinental Champion. Yeah, I don't know. Not really feeling that one too much. But who knows? Maybe they want to make him the new Honky Tonk Man. Which, based on their other ideas, may not necessarily be the worst idea in the world either.
I didn't realize that match, it was 5 minutes, 45 seconds. It was the shortest match of the whole show, including the pre-show. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had AJ Styles versus Jon Cena. This was a phenomenal match, no pun intended. It's also a match that you could argue was kind of misplaced,
Definitely
overbooked,
misplaced.
A little much. I mean, these guys did everything. To quote our friend Brian Alvarez, who's been on the show before, they had more kickouts in this match, more near falls in this match than the McGregor Diaz 2 fight had significant strikes. This was nuts. John Cena hit a code red. AJ had hit a phenomenal forearm. Styles clash. AA. Leg drop to the head.
Calf crusher.
STF. STF. Everything.
No springboard stunner, thank God.
Oh, yes, thank God. Ember Moon does that a lot better than him. Just a hell of a match. I mean, they kicked out of everything. And the best part of this match, besides the ending, was John Cena going for a top rope attitude adjustment. And you and I had the same feeling. Oh, my God. John Cena's going to beat AJ Styles, even though it makes no sense in storyline. John Cena's leaving to film American Grit Season 2 and do all those other reality TV stuff. And he goes for the pin. 1, 2.
We all thought it was coming.
And AJ Styles kicked out. And Cena did an incredible job of selling a shock. Just sat in the corner, watched AJ slowly get up, and he's going, what the hell do I have to do to beat this guy?
You know, and then, you know, you think, all right, well, in typical John Cena fashion, he's going to just pick him up, hit the AA, and pin him. Because that's what I thought was coming.
But he didn't. Instead, he got AJ up for the AA. AJ hit him with some elbows, some Bryan Danielson old school ROH style elbows. He got the Styles Clash, hit it, did not go for the pin, took off his pad, went to hit the phenomenal forearm. Cena's getting slowly up. I'm thinking, all right, Cena's got to catch him for the AA or something, right? He hits the phenomenal forearm. He goes for the cover. He hooks the leg, and the referee goes, 1, 2, 3. The crowd goes nuts. I'm losing my mind at home. You're texting me. My friend Candace is blowing up my phone. My buddy Ben's blowing up my phone. Everybody's blowing up my phone. They cannot believe it. It's like an Xbox achievement or a trophy with PS4 where you're playing a game and you get to a certain point and it's like achievement unlocked. Torch passed. John
Pretty
Cena
much.
put over AJ Styles clean in the middle of the ring.
Well, since 2011, he's put over everybody clean in the middle of the ring, but I know what you're saying. Well, no, that's not
Well,
true.
no, I mean...
Last year, Jon Stewart helped, but yeah.
Yeah, last year... Well, yeah, the last time he really put somebody over clean was Daniel Bryan in 2013, and unfortunately that was negated because of a stupid cash-in by Randy Orton. And then even in 2011, when CM Punk beat him, there was controversy because like his foot was like underneath the rope or something. This was just no controversy, no Bullet Club, no nothing. This was an incredible match. And all I could think was, how in God's name is anyone going to follow that? And 2, why the hell was this not the world title match on SmackDown?
I don't mean to interrupt. I got the replay of SummerSlam on. I just saw that horrible Charlotte and Sasha spot, and I just want to say, what the you know what? Because that's my God.
Yeah.
What the? I hate to say this, but what the hell were they thinking?
What was Charlotte thinking? Just dropping her like that.
Her. Like, Sasha didn't try to catch herself on the ropes. Nothing. What the? Oh my God. But I think the AJ Cena match was put on like right after 8 o'clock, and I think the whole thought was they'll have a great match, you know. And we didn't know what the rest of the card was like at that point, but they'll have a great match. We know the crowd's going to be dead because no matter what we put on, and then we have the last couple matches, the main event, and blah blah blah, and the crowd will be back into it. I think that's what their thought was in doing it then.
Yeah,
and it didn't work.
It did not work. It was just that was a great match.
It was
great match. I mean, that was wow.
That might be better than Nakamura and Sami Zayn in NXT.
It might be. I think
it
so.
It was very close.
I mean, just what it accomplished, you know. It was just it was incredible.
Well, and then the ending actually is what really when Cena's in the ring and
takes off his armband and leaves it in the ring, and crowd gives him some respect. I mean, you have to give that guy respect, you know. Say what you want about him and this and that and the other thing. You're not the biggest fan of his character, but that guy, he leaves it in the ring. Minor complaint. Only a minor complaint. I thought he could have put a little more torque in those couple of STFs he locked in. That's the only thing. But you know what? After seeing Sasha Banks kill herself, you know what? I'm fine with Cena keeping it safe in that sense.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, man. That was just, one hell of a match. Hell of a match. Nothing but respect for both men. You got to believe that AJ's next in line for the title and that he should just get the title.
Well, you would think, but not to get ahead of ourselves, but Dean Ambrose cut possibly a very heelish promo that I did retweet out that when we get a chance we can all listen to and watch. But interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was not really... Well, actually, I missed that promo, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Gallows and Anderson take on the New Day. Jon Stewart became an honorary member of the New Day. He got booed in New York City. I was kind of surprised by this.
Well, after what happened last year, I think everybody was kind of assuming...
Oh, yeah, that he was going to interfere and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't mind him, though. I mean, Jon Stewart will look very different. You know, he seems like a guy that's definitely, like, semi-retired. You know what I mean? Kind of just...
Yeah, even the promo, he was just kind of, like, going through it. Although, the funny part of his promo was he learned when he gets beat up to have his shirt tucked in, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, although he definitely looked like he lost some weight. He looked very skinny.
Yeah, he did.
Very skinny, but... he introduced the New Day. They had a match with Gallows and Anderson. It was very hard for fans to care about this match. And at the end, they teased putting Jon Stewart's crotch into the pole and giving him.
Well, they did have a little cup for him, by the way. Doctor had. Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Doctor. Why not?
Yeah, they both had him there. They were ready to crush his testicular fortitude. And then Big E ran out, came in like a house of fire, took them both out. It was a disqualification, but crowd was happy to see Big E back. He was dancing and shaking his hips and doing all that. And I thought to myself, that brief moment of intensity that we saw from Big E makes me wonder, why the hell is this guy not a top guy?
Yeah, but then when he drank the pickle juice, you kind of figured out why.
Well, that's because they booked him that way. But
Yeah,
I'm saying, how many years ago? I mean, you've been listening to that show for a while, long before we started doing shows together. I mean, don't you remember us going back and forth talking about how like Big E could be a big star one day and maybe be like
Absolutely.
the new John Cena or a guy that could be one of those like top main eventers? I mean, he's always had the goods. I think he's always had the look. From the moment he got onto the main roster, he was significantly better for his experience level than he should have been.
Well, it's funny because him and Apollo Crews are kind of similar as far as these big muscle guys who are very athletic.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like they want to give Crews that spot over Big E. But yeah, Big E ran out like a house of fire and just basically ran over Karl Anderson.
Well, I don't know if they're giving Apollo Crews the Big E spot. I mean, Big E and Apollo Crews. Big E and Apollo Crews both kind of, I think had innocuous starts to their WWE main roster careers. I mean, Big E, he was kind of like the lackey for Dolph Ziggler for a while. Didn't really talk. In his first match, I think was his first real debut. I think was against. One of it was his first like WrestleMania debut match was in the tag team match where he lost, and he lost to Del Rio a few times, and the luster for Big E was kind of removed from the beginning, and then he ended up winning the Intercontinental title from Curtis Axel, looking good for a while, and he just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and then all of a sudden they put him at the New Day. The gimmick was death at first until they gave the guys more creative freedom and let them do what they wanted, and it's turned his career around. But if you really think about it, while the New Day is a great act, it's kind of sad that for a guy of Big E's ability, Big E's talent, that it took a chance faction and a chance opportunity to do something with his faction in order for him to really get over with the crowd. You know what I mean? Like I really do think that like if they gave him half the push that they gave Roman Reigns over the years, and kept Big E as like a serious act, but let him have that charisma and shine on the mic, maybe do the 5 count like he used to do in the early days of NXT. I really do think he would have gotten over. I mean, we even saw him in a few main events, if you remember, with like CM Punk and John Cena a few years ago, and they just kind of soured on him. I hope it doesn't happen with Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is a guy that's come in, not really had a lot of big matches, not really said much. He is super freaky athletic, although he's definitely got more experience than Big E when Big E first came in, because Apollo Crews I think worked for Evolve and Dragon Gate and all that stuff. So he's definitely a better worker coming in than when Big E was. But yeah, I mean I have a feeling that that Apollo is one of those guys, kind of like Big E in the early days, where he gets a nice little push, he even gets to rub shoulders with some main eventers. And then, might get lost in the shuffle. And I hope that doesn't happen. But, it seems like it right now because it doesn't seem like they really had a plan with him when they first brought him up from NXT.
No, I agree. I think they just brought him up and it's kind of like, all right, now what do we do?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was a DQ finish. So this feud will probably continue.
Probably. That Backlash, yeah.
Dean Ambrose. No, Backlash is a SmackDown pay-per-view.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah.
So I think it was Clash of Champions, yeah. We had Dolph Ziggler take on Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship. This was by far the most disappointing match of the night, and one that I could not figure out what was exactly wrong with this match.
Something was missing, yeah.
Something. I mean, okay, let's go through this match. Dean Ambrose essentially out-wrestled the wrestler Dolph Ziggler, doing all kinds of different moves. Butterfly suplex, taking him out, just throwing the kitchen sink at the guy. I mean, really, Dean Ambrose had his working shoes on, but the crowd wasn't reacting. The crowd did not care.
There was some boos for him actually at one point.
I think the crowd was tired. Like, yes. I know they were tired. I also think that whatever promo Dean Ambrose cut that I missed that you said that was shown backstage.
Well, it was after the match.
Oh, was it after a match?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was after the match.
Oh,
And
okay,
I don't want to
sorry.
give away the spoiler to the match, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. It was weird because I went to MSG a few months back, and Dean Ambrose is pretty over. And he's a guy that's one of the more popular guys, one of the better merchandise sellers in the company. I think the crowd was just tired. And on top of that, you had Dolph Ziggler as the challenger. And I had a lot of flack. How could you say this about Dolph Ziggler? Dolph Ziggler is a great wrestler, and blah, 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 and this and that, and this. And look, I've liked Dolph Ziggler for a long time. I think the guy should have definitely have gotten a better shake throughout his career. I really do. I think when he really got over in 2013 with that title win, they should have really tried to get behind him. But that ship has sailed. Timing is everything. Wade Barrett's another guy who I was a big fan of. But you got to a point with Wade Barrett where you can repackage him a million times, but at the end of the day, if the fans see him as a loser, as a geek, as a guy that's not main event worthy, you're not going to do anything to convince fans that he's main event worthy. And Dolph Ziggler, he was shining the last few weeks on SmackDown. I wasn't a fan of this matchup. I said, you know what? He's doing all right on the mic. Okay? He's screaming a little too much. He's being a little whiny. But you know what? He's doing all right. This is going to set up something big. So what do? They have an all right match with virtually no heat. The crowd, I guess they were booing Ambrose, but they weren't even really cheering Ziggler. And you got to keep in mind, like, New York, New Jersey traditionally loved Ziggler. I mean, loved him. Now, granted, this isn't East Rutherford, New Jersey, where they used to have the Izod Center, which is now closed down. Okay, this is Brooklyn, New York, but still, you're getting a lot of people from my neck of the woods in Jersey. You're getting a lot of people from the UK. You got a lot of hardcore fans that used to love Dolph Ziggler. But you get to the point where it's just so hard to give a crap about a guy that's been beaten so many damn times. And you know what? I don't even necessarily mind that Dolph Ziggler. I didn't mind, okay, past tense, that Dolph Ziggler storyline going into the SummerSlam. It kind of grew on me, but I just thought, you know what? If you were going to do this, it would have been better to build up Dolph Ziggler over the course of 6 months as opposed to 4 to 6 weeks. Because, you're just fast forwarding. You're being, I don't want to say lazy, but, you're just fast tracking it rather than letting it kind of build up organically. You know what I mean? A guy like Mark Henry, who was a perennial mid-carder, a perennial bust in the eyes of many in 2011, he got on track because over the course of months, they built him up with short, effective matches and angles that got over the fact that this dude is the leader of the Hall of Pain. So when he won the world title, it wasn't, oh my God, Mark Henry won the world title. It was, holy crap, you damn right, that guy's legit. And the SmackDown ratings back then, when Mark Henry was champion, were actually halfway decent. So you have Dolph Ziggler, a guy who has been beaten like a drum, who prior to getting drafted to SmackDown lost a feud to Baron Corbin and his wrinkly belly button and receding hairline. Baron Corbin. And you expect people, the majority, to buy that he will beat Dean Ambrose for the title. Keep in mind, this is a guy that they had pin AJ Styles. So, okay, match has no heat. It's not clicking for whatever reason. Dean Ambrose is being very aggressive. Dean Ambrose is taunting Dolph Ziggler. Openly taunting Dolph Ziggler. All right, he's trying to get some heat. You got a little bit of heat, if you want to even call it heat. So what happens? We get to the ending, and keep in mind, I was like a lot of people. I was just mentally checked out by this point because this match had no heat. It was so bizarre. It was just a tough match to watch. So Dolph Ziggler goes up, I guess, for a top rope face buster, an X Factor. Whatever whatever finisher that Brie has too. It's like, that move that Brie does, a face buster. And he's going for it, I guess. Which to me, look, in storyline and in the context of real life, it's kind of stupid. It's a move where you slam a guy's face on the ground, but then you land on your ass, so it also hurts you. That's dumb. Whatever. So he's going for it. Dean Ambrose shakes him off. They both land on their feet. Dean Ambrose kicks him, shrugs, locks in the butterfly hook, hits the dirty deeds, and just pins Dolph Ziggler.
Yep.
That was it. That was it.
Thankfully,
This whole talk of
that was it.
This whole talk of when you dig down deep, and you're trying to find the one move to put me away, and then you eat a super kick. Did Dolph even throw a super kick in this match? Did he even land one? I know he hit the zigzag, which Ambrose kicked out of.
I think Ambrose tried to hit one.
Oh yeah, he was mocking him and hit the super kick, but
he was actually more mocking Shawn Michaels, but yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the promo afterwards, basically, Dean said something to the effect of, I'm WWE champion, and there's two things you can do about it, like it and nothing. So, kind of, yeah, well, whatever.
Man, I felt really bad for both guys. I felt bad for Dean Ambrose because he's been a damn good champion. I felt bad for Dolph Ziggler because here he is, like, look, say what you want about the guy, if you think he's overrated, if he's underrated, whatever. Look, by the context of today's WWE, when you got guys like AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe and Austin Aries on the roster, yeah, you could say that trying to claim that Dolph Ziggler is one of the best in the company nowadays is kind of crazy. When you have those caliber of dudes, or Seth Rollins on top, right? Or any of those guys. But at the end of the day, there was a point in time, a couple-year period, where this guy really could have broken out and been a huge star, or one of the bigger stars that WWE had. And unfortunately, that ship just sailed, and it just sailed. And I feel really bad for him because this was a big match for him. He wanted to prove to people that he could get over and he could do his thing. And I think on one hand, I don't think the match clicked. On the other hand, you could say the crowd. And third, it was just, I don't know. I think maybe it was just the wrong time.
Bad spot.
Spot, combination of everything. And that's it for Ziggler. I mean, where does he go from here? He's got to turn heel, right? He has to turn heel. There's no coming back from this. After the kind of promo he cut on SmackDown, and then for him to lose, like, let's face it, I know that Dirty Deeds is Dean Ambrose's finisher, but to lose to one Dirty Deeds, just like that, right before being mocked.
I suppose they could do, like, a triple threat with Bray Wyatt at the next pay-per-view, but I don't know how.
Just give the damn belt to AJ Styles. That's it. Just give the belt to AJ Styles.
Yeah, but then you have nobody for him to go against.
Just give the belt to AJ Styles. Have AJ Styles have great matches with a bunch of people. Have AJ Styles beat everybody. Have John Cena come back at, like, Royal Rumble or whatever, and tease this being, like, the 16th world title for John Cena. Have him win. Make it a big ceremony. Blah, blah, blah. And then you can have John Cena at WrestleMania put over somebody big, like, I don't know, Nakamura, Kevin Owens, whatever. Somebody that's like a star that's on the rise. Nakamura, Kevin Owens, whoever.
Speaking of AJ, we forgot to mention there was an interesting backstage promo, vignette, promo, whatever, with Gallows and Anderson talking about their upcoming tag match. AJ walks in and they're doing their thing, little reunion there, and camera pans out, and who's right next to him? Happened to be Finn Balor.
And they did the too sweet, and Finn Balor just walked away.
Just kind of smiled and walked away. Yep.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting. Promo was obviously well pre-taped because he was not the demon, and it takes like 7 hours for him to do his makeup. So whatever.
Yeah. So we had the women's tag match, which actually featured Ava Marie's entrance.
That was great.
They were going to introduce her, and they said Ava Marie is currently recuperating and. On vacation? From exhaustion, which is hilarious because she's really suspended. Honestly, it would have been better if it just said she's suspended, but, whatever.
Who does that voice? The entrance for her?
I don't know, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
This match went almost as long as the WWE World Title match.
Oh, my God, it did. Yeah, that's right. It went 11 minutes. So, Nikki Bella came out. She was the mystery partner for Alexa Bliss and Natalya. She looked great, and she was the best part of this match.
Yeah. John Cena wins.
Yeah. He definitely wins in more ways than one. And, she was great. She was awesome in this match. I really enjoyed her. I think it was a little weird for her to be heel because I think some fans wanted to cheer her.
Well, they did at first.
But I think the crowd just turned on this match because it went way too long.
It did.
And Nikki Bella ended up getting the win, pinning Carmella. Now, some people are going to say, well, Fred, how the hell did Carmella get booed in New York? She's from New York. She said she's from Staten Island. I'm gonna say it again. and this is nothing against people from Staten Island, because I got a number of friends from Staten Island. It's not too far for me. It's about a little less than an hour for me. Okay, I'm just stating the facts here. Nothing against the good people of Staten Island. There's really no reason to go to Staten Island if you live in New Jersey unless you're from there or have family.
Well, if you have to go to the Verrazano Bridge, I guess you have to go to Staten Island.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, look, Staten Island is like the redheaded stepchild of the 5 boroughs for anybody.
Essentially. I'm not saying
really
it's fair. I'm not saying it's actually I like redheads. I'm not saying it's
Look, I'll say this.
It's the Heath Slater of the 5 boroughs. Okay.
That's mean.
Okay. It has the least street cred. All right. It's
really
it's like Queens has Nas, Brooklyn has Notorious B.I.G.
Manhattan's Manhattan.
Manhattan's Manhattan. You know what I mean? And
Bronx has J-Lo.
Bronx has J-Lo and Fat Joe.
Fat Joe.
And Staten Island has
like Perth Amboy, New Jersey.
Yeah, Staten Island has. Yeah, what does Staten Island have?
Hoboken.
So what you know what I mean?
You know what Staten Island has? And look, it's a great. I love this show, but they have the Impractical Jokers. All right,
they have that. Okay, but Impractical Jokers compared to the Notorious B.I.G., it's not even fair.
I didn't say it was.
It's not even fair. So for her to come out and be like, I'm the princess of Staten Island.
They didn't give her the mic tonight on purpose.
Nobody cares about Staten Island that's not from New York, New Jersey. And nobody within New Jersey and New York City cares about Staten Island unless you're from Staten Island. So for people that keep saying, well, why are they not popping? She's from New York. She's from Staten Island. That doesn't count. I'm more New York than Carmella.
Yeah, me too.
I'm more New York than you at least grew up in New York.
A little bit. Yeah.
I've made my living in New York the last 5-6 years. I'm more New York than Carmella.
Like,
it's like people would say and I remember I saw a recap on some site. I don't remember what it was. Where some dude, I just want to bring this up because it was hilarious and it's funnier than what happened in this match. Some dude was like, "Well, Carmella makes her debut in Buffalo, New York, and brings up Staten Island, but despite her bringing up in New York City, she didn't get a pop."
That's the gimmick.
Staten Island is nowhere near Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like going to, San Diego, California, and being like, "I'm from Sonoma."
Yeah.
This doesn't really work.
Okay, so for people that are not from my area, okay, I'm just gonna say it one more time, so people don't keep asking me, why is she not getting a pop? Besides the fact that the gimmick is death as a babyface, why is she not getting a pop? She said she's from New York. Isn't New York supposed to be cool? It's Staten Island. It's not that cool. Okay,
that's just mean. We're gonna get killed in Staten Island.
Staten Island hasn't been cool since like one of John Gotti's kids lived there. All right, like
there you go. That's basically what Staten Island is. It's like mobsters and whatever.
Hey, listen. I'm not. Listen, I am not going to say anything that's going to jeopardize my safety. So Scott, you keep that statement to yourself. All right.
Hey, look, you've seen Goodfellas. Enough said. All right, is that? I mean,
even Goodfellas wasn't filmed in Staten Island.
I know it wasn't, but
hang on. Okay. It is blasphemous to compare Staten Island to Goodfellas, all right?
Fine.
All right, you know what? All right. You know what, Scott? You can recap this next match because I'm just going to confirm where Goodfellas was filmed, all right? Go ahead.
I don't even know what match we're on. Hold on. Well, we're at the 6 Diva tag. Basically, the finish. Well, yeah, Nikki Bella hit the TKO, which I think everybody thought she was going to hit the AA, the way she had her up. But whatever, it happened. The next match, which again just kind of shows what Vince thinks of title belts, was the first ever Universal Championship match, which was we've heard mixed things. The gummy bear belt.
All right, listen, Scott. The Goodfellas, which is one of the all-time great movies, which all of you should watch, featuring Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci, was filmed in Queens, New York, New Jersey, and Long Island. Okay, so I know you feel bad for Staten Island. Okay, but they cannot claim Goodfellas. Okay.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, no, that's what you were saying. Okay, listen, I feel bad for Carmella too. Okay, at the end of the day, we're arguing about this, but guess what?
Whatever.
Carmella's originally from Boston,
which is even funnier.
And she was a cheerleader for the Patriots.
Which is even funnier to give her the New
So
York.
she's not even from there. Just make her a heel. Just make her a heel. All right, let's move on. Nikki pinned, whatever her name is. It doesn't matter. The match sucked, but I'm happy to see Nikki back.
I was moving on, and I was talking about the gummy bear belt, the red belt, the King of the Mountain belt, the horrible looking belt, the whatever. But I tweeted out a cool picture of a blue belt, which I think is going to be on SmackDown soon.
Yeah, all right. So we had the Universal title match, which was essentially a match for a belt that looked like the current SmackDown belt.
It basically looked like the Ultimate Warrior's belt when he just had the different colored straps.
It was red.
Yeah.
It was red.
Horrible looking red. Yeah.
It was yeah.
And it said Universal title. Like they took the plate off and just
It was like so lazy.
Well, remember a couple weeks ago I tweeted you a picture of two belts, a blue belt and a red belt. And now I think at that point it was the middle plate being blue and red, but it looks like that's what they're going with.
You know what? To be fair to the Universal title, all the UFC championships look the same. But you know what they all have in common? They're all big, they're all shiny, and they're all made of gold, which looks like a real prize that a fighter would want.
Yeah.
Hey, Finn, what'd you win? Oh, I won some tight red leather with a big W on it. Yeah,
won
cool.
The King of the Mountain title. I mean, the Universal title.
It looks like the Legends title from TNA.
It does, which was the King of the Mountain title, which was the TV title.
Actually, that's true. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So the crowd turned on. I didn't know what they were chanting before.
The belt got the biggest heel heat of the night.
What were they chanting? They were chanting, this belt sucks.
What weren't they chanting?
They were chanting, this belt sucks. The belt became the biggest heel in the match to the point where the crowd was drowning out the match with chants for the belt.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
They hated this belt. And you know what's funny? I bet backstage a bunch of people that probably kissed Vince McMahon's ass told him, oh, Vince, that's a great belt. Oh, really? Yeah, that's a great belt.
Well,
that's a great belt. And you know what's funny? Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack has been making fun of this belt for weeks.
Now we know why.
And you know what? They ended up validating his jokes.
Yeah.
It's red.
Yeah, as you put it, it's the Eva Marie Memorial Championship.
Yes.
It's Mr. All Red Everything.
Exactly. But here's the thing. While the belt was ridiculous, the finish was not.
Here's a good one I just noticed. Looks like Kane's mask was used to make the Universal title.
Oh, my God.
That's a good one.
That's hilarious. So, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins had a really good match. It was a match that could only end via pinfall or submission.
Apparently, it was no DQ. Yeah, go figure.
Did they announce this at the beginning of the show?
It was announced midway through the match.
Oh, yeah, because Finn Balor was in some type of submission. I don't remember what submission it was. Was it like?
But he couldn't get to the rope. He was.
He was like in a triangle. He was in an arm bar and he was in a triangle because Seth Rollins apparently learned CrossFit Jiu-Jitsu, and he grabbed the rope and he's like, "There's no rope break," and fans started booing because I think fans assumed that it was like a normal match.
Yeah, nobody knew.
Yeah, wonderful. Why not? Who needs rules, right? Just make them up as you go along. And Finn Balor slipped out of the ring. He kicked out of a pedigree. There were a few other spots in this match, a few dives here and there. Seth Rollins was trying to go for another pedigree. Couldn't do it. And then Finn Balor just unleashed hell with a bunch of drop kicks to I'd say a rather somewhat tepid reaction. I think at this point the crowd was really tired, which I felt bad for both these guys because they're great workers and they were having a badass match, but the crowd really hurt this one, and I'm not blaming the crowd. This is way too long of a show. So Finn Balor goes up, hits the coup de grace, the double foot stomp, gets the clean pin, wins the title. Stupid belt aside. What a great moment for Finn Balor.
It was a decent match, too. It really was.
Just staying down in NXT for years, wondering when the hell he's going to come up. Wondering if he's going to injure or hurt. I mean, he's not a young guy. He just turned 35. I mean, he stayed in NXT for a year and a half. He stayed in NXT for way too long. Yes. But it was worth the wait if you're a Finn Balor fan. Got the pin, became the champion, and while the red belt is ridiculous, Finn Balor's champion isn't. And at least they made a new guy. They went all the way with him. Our fears were not answered, thank God. And he went all the way. He pinned Rusev. He pinned Roman Reigns. He pinned Seth Rollins. And now let's see what happens. The thing is, while I'm happy for the guy, I think this is a great moment and going to definitely build some intrigue on Raw and freshen things up a little bit. Now the real work starts because they really fast-tracked him without building him up with vignettes or anything like that. I mean, they have weeks leading up to SummerSlam. But, they kind of gave away the demon a little too early, which was, 6 days ago. And, he's a guy that hasn't had a lot of on-screen time on the main roster, and he's still new to a lot of fans. So while it is exciting that he's been fast-tracked and beat all these guys, and I do think he's going to be taken seriously by a lot of the main roster fans, now's the part where you got to keep him over, where you got to take him to that next level. And hopefully this works out.
Well, I think it's safe to say he'll be in a rematch with Seth Rollins at the next pay-per-view.
He might be. I don't know. After that
have
reaction,
to keep it going.
After that reaction to the belt,
just remember, yeah.
That's one thing we could have never factored if you think about it. The belt. Out of all the things that I think might hamper his push or hamper his run, out of all the things, the belt was like the last thing on my list.
But that belt is so ugly. Even Triple H said, "Nah, I'm good." No, I'm good, really.
Like really? I mean, it just...
it's bad.
Yeah, I mean...
There was a photo of it, and I tweeted out WWE Shop is already selling it, and it doesn't look that bad. But then live, it doesn't look that good.
It just... And you know what? Like, a lot of people that watch these shows, especially these hot crowds, they pick up on what the crowd does.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
I guess the only positive is that belt kind of goes good with Finn when he does the demon gimmick.
True, but still, it's like...
I don't get it.
I mean, you don't want your world title being ridiculed like that.
Well, it's not a world title, so it's okay.
Oh, Universal title. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's like...
The main title, you don't want that to be the joke.
Because it's already... In storyline, they're already creating, like, I don't want to say a fake belt or an interim champion like the UFC does sometimes with, like, let's do an interim title match.
They're creating a belt because they don't have one, so they're making one up. I mean,
yeah,
it basically is a mock title.
It is, but if you're going to make a mock title, then make it different. Make it look...
They did make it look different.
Real different, Scott.
It's really different. It is.
Oh my gosh.
Look, wait until September 11th when SmackDown presents the blue belt, okay? Because it's coming.
So stupid.
Somebody tweeted it out and I retweeted it. Now you have basically like your Dr. Pepper flavors. Dr. Pepper, cherry Dr. Pepper, and the women's belt vanilla Dr. Pepper. Just horrible, man. They should make the U.S. title and give that like a red, white, and blue strap. I mean, it just... God.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Dan Foster tweeted us letting us know that WWE confirms that Randy Orton got 10 staples in his head.
Yeah, yeah. Be interesting to see him wrestle on Tuesday night with that.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the rest of this card. This is getting late.
Yes.
All right, we also had Rusev versus Roman Reigns.
Kinda.
This went to a no contest. Rusev and Roman Reigns started brawling before the bell, and Rusev got beaten up, was slow to get up. It looked like he was feigning the injury, but he is such a good seller that, especially for a bigger guy, that it looked like in storyline he was really beat up by Roman Reigns, like really, really hurt. And then after, and the security's just trying to separate Roman for like what seemed like eternity. So Roman went to the back. They said, this match will not continue because, Rusev is hurt, whatever. Rusev gets up.
He didn't look legitimately hurt.
He did. I think he did crack a brief smirk, but, okay. he got up, and then Roman Reigns just ran down and speared him on the floor. That looked like it sucked.
It looked better than the one on Monday, for sure.
Yeah, and then Roman just, left, and crowd booed him, and crowd before was chanting Rusev Mashka because they wanted Rusev to win, and all I can say is, if Bill Simmons tweeted that finally after 13 months, too late, they turned Roman Reigns heel. And I don't know if he was just being facetious or not, but if they don't turn Roman Reigns heel after this, how the hell do they expect people to actually cheer him?
Well, weren't the fans already starting to cheer for Heath Slater at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was bad. Like, how is Roman Reigns the babyface? He's been sexist. He's called both ugly. He ruined their wedding. He's beaten up Rusev Every week. He's gotten the upper hand literally on every show that they've had a confrontation.
Yep.
But I'm supposed to have sympathy for this guy. For this douchebag.
Well, and that's the whole Wade Barrett thing we were talking about. How do you get Rusev over when he's a geek at this point? He's not serious. He's not serious champion.
Well, no. Rusev actually has done pretty well the last couple months.
Yeah, but look,
Well, you mean how do you do it? Oh, you mean how do they do it now after they've beaten him up like for 5 years? Yeah, you're right. No, I agree. I don't think Rusev's at the point of no return like a guy like Wade Barrett was because he just hasn't been around as long. But seriously, you do all that work for Rusev. Roman Reigns, like a bully, beats this guy up every single week. And what's going to happen? Is Roman just going to win the title in the next pay-per-view? Is that what's going to happen? Like, to me, that's just stupid. Well, unless you're turning Roman Reigns heel, even though you're sacrificing a damn good worker, a good talent in Rusev, whatever. If you're turning him heel, if you want to show that Roman has a mean streak and doesn't care about the fans or what people think anymore, whatever. But if he's just going to be booked as a babyface when he's clearly a heel, I don't know what the hell they're thinking here. I really don't. I mean, I know they've been stubborn with him, but seriously.
Well, and the greatest part is if Rusev does beat Reigns, he's going to get cheered, so it doesn't matter.
Well, he should beat Reigns. He has.
Well, you would think.
He has to beat Reigns, man. He's gotten his ass handed to him so many times. Forget about it. Ugh. Anyway, all right.
As they said, forget about it. Yeah. Anyway, that was a Brooklyn reference.
Scott, that was the worst.
I can do a better one.
That was horrible.
Want me to do a better one?
No, I don't want you to do it at all. All right. And then lastly, of course, we have the main event that we discussed at the top of the show. Brock Lesnar beat Randy Orton via TKO. Then he proceeded to F5 Mr. Shane McMahon, who proceeded to sell the move for approximately 30 seconds. Or essentially the amount of time that he sold the dive off the Hell in a Cell.
I was going to say as he sold the last ride, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just...
So overall, it's crazy because after the Cena match, I thought it was a thumbs-up show. And after this,
Well, you mean before the Cena match?
No, after the Cena match, I thought it was a thumbs-up show.
Okay.
Now, it's like... it was still a noteworthy show. Brock Lesnar Randy Orton was still a good match. I liked it. I just didn't like the ending of the show. Rollins and Balor wasn't a bad match at all. And, Cena and Styles was great. Banks and Charlotte was a hell of a match, if you can get over the fact that Sasha Banks nearly got paralyzed twice.
I think there was 3 times, to be honest.
Yeah,
there was another spot where Charlotte, she hit the, I don't even know what, it was like the modified rock bottom there where she hits her with the backbreaker and then just throws her to the ground. Like Sasha landed on her neck. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, Nikki Bella, she went with the TKO instead of the rack attack, which I guess she can't do now because of her back.
Which is weird because she's still picking I know it's not dropping the force, but she's still picking somebody up.
Yeah. Weird. But, hey, she's medically cleared. I'm happy for her. She looked great. And, yeah, you know what? They need some star power on SmackDown. She's got it, and she's a better worker than people give her credit for. So I'm happy to see her back. That's good.
Yes.
You know what? Overall, I'll still give this show a thumbs up because when you have a match like Cena and Styles and when you have an effort like Banks and Charlotte, even though they were completely reckless, and, when you have Orton and Brock and some of the risks and physicality that they took, I'd still give it a thumbs up. If you didn't watch the show and you have no interest in seeing through 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours of SummerSlam, I'll just tell you what to watch right now. Cena and Styles needs to be at the top of your list.
Twice.
Yes. Banks and Charlotte. The main event I thought was awesome with Lesnar and Orton. And I'd say Sheamus and Cesaro.
Watch a Universal title match as well.
Universal title.
It was good. It was good.
And Cesaro and Sheamus is really good too. Although you're probably going to be seeing these guys. Well, you are definitely going to be seeing these guys wrestle at least 6 more times. So maybe you don't want to watch that match if you missed it because you're going to be seeing it anyway. But yeah, so not a bad show. Just way too long. Way too long. This is what we get now
with the 2 biggest shows of the year. You're going to get these long, drawn-out shows. I think it's great they put on 13 total matches. I think 11 on the main show. I think that's awesome. Give guys a chance. Give women a chance.
Yeah, but you know what, though?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good. Hang on. I don't think it's a good idea because that's too many matches, and the crowd was clearly burned out, and the length of the show clearly hurt the rest of the show. Now I'll say this. You know what? If you want to have a 4-hour show, okay, but maybe don't do a 2-hour pre-show.
Well, no, I agree with that,
Yeah.
but you got to book it better too. I mean, if you look now, look, I know some of the shows back in the day were not 3-hour shows, but you had 13 matches, and you had 5 matches that were under 6 minutes. Do that. You don't. Not every match needs 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, maybe if you can't fill up the time, don't have a 4-hour show.
I agree.
Ben Ostner, who's a good friend of mine, is watching Holy Foley. He's one of the few people that's watching it and said that Noel Foley is everything.
No. So, yeah. Well.
Yeah, this guy says right here, Bobby Roode's theme song alone was better than SummerSlam.
Well, this is 2 years in a row NXT wins.
Yeah, I agree. And I was actually in attendance for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. It was a hell of a show. I know we're running late, and I just hit my mic while grabbing my phone and getting my notes, but yeah, it was a hell of a show. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Do we have any confirmation of Samoa Joe possibly breaking his jaw?
I did not see any, so.
Because I looked bad, like I told you last night, and I think it was Dan Foster as well. If not, I apologize for who it was. But you could see doing the match, like right after it happened, he waved the ref over, and it was almost like, let's end this now, because they went right to the ending after that. So.
Okay, yeah, I didn't notice before. I thought it was just selling, but
no.
that sucks if you did. That's a big loss for NXT for a little while too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you would assume that they would have their rematch at the next takeover, and then Joe would just go on to Raw or SmackDown. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But Bobby Roode is over because my daughter said, and I quote, "That's a cool song," something like to the effect of, "That's a cool song, and I like his entrance."
Mm-hmm.
So he's over.
He is over. So yeah, came to the show. It was really fun. Barclays is an awesome wrestling venue. Only thing is, the rows aren't as open as MSG. So when you gotta try to go to the other side, to get a drink or whatever else, there's a glass plasticky barrier that just makes you have to go through everybody, walk past them, then walk up the aisle. It's a little the aesthetics of the building are nice, but it's a little annoying sometimes getting around. It is a little annoying, but awesome venue, hot crowd. We opened the show with a couple matches that were taped for not takeover for future NXT episodes. At least I'm assuming so. Yeah, we had the Perfect 10 Ty Dillinger beat Blake. Not a bad match. Mr. Perfect 10 got the win. It was his first match back in a few weeks. He's been hurt with an undisclosed injury. Crowd was going nuts for him. This is a guy that should be on the main roster. He is Sean Spears, such an underrated wrestler. He was awesome. I'm happy he got the win here and got the ovation that he got.
He could even take that Santino role, couldn't he, with that gimmick?
Absolutely. No, he's great, man. I really like that guy. A better worker than Santino, that's for sure.
Yes.
We had the Authors of Pain against TM61. It's crazy how TM61, they were big stars in Noah, a great tag team in Japan. They're just guys here in the States right now, and it didn't help that they were going up against the Authors of Pain. They lost to the Authors of Pain.
So that was a 1-week little feud that they had. Okay.
Yeah, not much. We had the opener, which was No Way Jose taking on Austin Aries. No Way Jose came out. People were singing his theme song. He had a big conga line. It was pretty cool. Austin Aries came out, got a decent ovation, and so at some point in the match, and Scott, you watched this on TV, so you could tell me.
I was.
The crowd abruptly turned on No Way Jose and was really getting behind Austin Aries.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I had it on my phone, and it seemed like they muted the crowd. Maybe it was just my phone. I'm not positive. But something happened. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what.
I don't think they muted the crowd. I mean, I was there. But
it was just on my phone. Maybe it's just the way it came across.
Yeah, it was sure. No Way Jose. There was some mixed chants, and then the crowd really got behind Austin Aries, especially at the end. I think because Austin was working at a different level than Jose and had his working shoes on.
And Austin is Austin Aries, and like you said, this is not the normal crowd, so they know,
They know him from ROH. They know him from TNA. He's a guy that's been a great wrestler for years. He's an excellent pro wrestler. I know some people don't like him, but he's an excellent pro wrestler. What do you want me to say? Former ROH champion, former TNA champion. He was over like crazy, over like hell, as Dan Foster points out here.
If anyone can do an animated GIF of crying Jordans with the conga line, I would love to see that on Twitter.
That would be hilarious, but. Yeah, he ended up getting the win with, I believe, was it the Last Chancery?
It was the Last Chancery. Yeah, he had it locked in at one point, and Jose got to the ropes, and then the finish came. He did some move and then hit it, and Jose just tapped out real quick. So after being in it for like 2 minutes, a couple minutes prior to that, he just tapped out. So,
Well,
whatever.
he couldn't take it anymore. You know, his neck said, "No way,
Wait,
Jose."
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't even plan that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then after the match, yes.
After the match, Hideo Itami came out and did by far the best thing he's ever done in WWE the last 2 years. He had a suit. He had these loafers with no socks on them, which is a fashion don't, but who am I to tell Kenta what to wear?
No. Yeah.
And he walks in the ring, starts kicking Mr. Aries. They get into it. Crowd chants GTS to go to sleep. And for those that say, "Oh, that's CM Punk's finishing move," no, Kenta invented the GTS, and he invented the running knee finish. Well, he probably didn't invent the running knee finish, but he made it, famous in recent history before Daniel Bryan adopted it. And by the way, Daniel Bryan does give credit to Kenta. He's had a lot of his moves borrowed and stolen. So he grabs the GTS, says, "F you, Phil Brooks." Well, he probably did in his mind. Hit the GTS. Crowd pop big. This was great. And I think Hideo Itami versus Austin Aries is going to be one hell of a match. And I think it's going to help get Hideo back on track finally in WWE.
Yeah, well, he had 2 surgeries. He's had a rough couple, 14 months, 15 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We had Ember Moon come out, a.k.a. Athena, and she defeated Billie Kay. This was kind of a sloppy match. The presentation for Ember was pretty good. The crowd got behind her, but there was just a lot of miscommunication with Billie Kay and Ember. But the ending was great because Billie Kay, was wobbly. Ember Moon went up to the top, hit the flying stunner. This was freaking awesome. Got the pin. That move just looked great. She couldn't have hit it better. Significantly better than John Cena's springboard stunner. 1, 2, 3. Crowd really liked Ember Moon. Showed her a lot of respect, although the match was eh. We then had Bobby Roode, who's supposed to be the heel, by the way, come out on this giant platform. Glorious. No, I will defend till I'm victorious. All the way up. I was like going to record his entrance, right? And I didn't even notice he was right above me. I'm like, that's Bobby Roode.
Well, what's great is he borrowed Wade Barrett's
the podium.
Podium.
The raising podium. So he's coming down slowly. They have the glorious theme song playing. He comes, he's just soaking it up, making his entrance. It was glorious. It was amazing.
But it is funny how back at WrestleMania when we thought he was coming to NXT, how me and you both said, he'll probably just be one of these guys who's there to help out and work, and yet they've made him a huge star.
Yes, and then Ben Oster, once again, he says that if they brought Bobby Roode up to the main roster with that entrance, he'd be a star immediately. Absolutely. Yes. And he got over huge with this crowd. The same can't be said for the former La Sombra, Andre Cien Almas. Is it Andres or Andrade? Whatever the hell his name is. First off, it's a terrible name. It's a terrible gimmick. The stupid suspenders. I don't know why the hell this guy does not have his mask on. I know Triple H said, well, how could you keep a mask on him? He's a good-looking guy. He is a good-looking guy, but he was a significantly better worker and star with the mask. He is terrible with this gimmick. It's amazing how he's a guy that was one of the better wrestlers in the world. He comes to NXT. I guess he's just trying to adjust and work a different style and whatever, but
exactly.
He just, whatever he had as La Sombra is gone. He did some cool moves, but he needs to either turn heel or get that damn mask. He needs to go to Paul Levesque and just say, listen, boss, this ain't working. Either let me have the mask or let's ditch the suspenders and hat and let me just be a heel. Form Los Ingobernables in freaking NXT. Do a version of Los Ingobernables in NXT with his current incarnation. Something. But he was just...
And Bobby Roode does have a horrible new finisher, by the way.
Yes, he does. And this match was all right, but these guys definitely had a styles clash. They did not mesh very well. I'd say it was just a weird match, Crowd was behind Bobby Roode. He's supposed to be the heel. And then Bobby Roode beats the guy with a pump handle slam. A pump handle slam, Scott.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it was horrible.
Not good. We had the cruiserweights at ringside. Kota Ibushi, Brian Kendrick, Noam Dar, and Cedric Alexander. That was pretty cool. We had Ric Flair at ringside as well during the Austin Aries and No Way Jose match. And yes, Scott, they did revolve people around that same spot over and over again.
No, I was going to say, are you sure that was Cedric Alexander and not...
Was it Rich Swann?
Yeah,
it was Rich Swann, was it? Yeah. Oh yeah, because Cedric Alexander didn't advance. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Cedric Alexander should be signed though.
I think he is.
He would have fit right on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard rumors that he was, so I think he is.
Okay.
But anyway, we had the match of the night next, by far.
Oh yeah. Oh, but and before that, they had a video package for Sanity, which I don't remember seeing the arena, but I saw it after the fact.
Yeah, who is that?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay,
I don't know. Hopefully it's not like Angelo Dawkins or one of these geeks that have been there forever repackaged, because that'd be. Yeah, I'm not feeling that one. I don't know. Who would it be? I don't know.
If anybody knows, let us know.
Yeah, or if you think you know. Yeah, so we had the Revival defeat Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano to retain the NXT tag titles. This was a match of the year candidate. This was just a great old school match. You know, Tommaso Ciampa running like a house of fire. Johnny Gargano, the great baby face, who's just so great at selling and has amazing facial expressions.
Really
You have the heel tag team that just so old school. So old school, distracting the ref when Ciampa makes the tag. Gargano gets in the ring, but the ref didn't see the legal tag. I
like the part when who was it? Dash accidentally flipped into the ring. That was great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To distract him. Yeah. And then
that was great.
Oh my gosh.
It was the third time that they were ever going to bring back a version of the Four Horsemen. Those two men need to be in it by far and away.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But it was a great match. I thought Ciampa was actually going to turn on Gargano, which I'm glad he didn't, but I thought he was.
Yeah. When Gargano and Ciampa, they hit the kick on Dawson, and then all of a sudden, is that your dog in the background?
It is, of course.
Yeah, glorious.
Glorious.
Yeah. So you should name is your dog a boy?
It is not.
Oh, it's a girl?
Yeah, no. They named her Maggie. I didn't really have a say in it.
Well, you should nickname her Bobby Roof.
Bobby Roof.
I'm just saying. So yeah, Gargano and Ciampa looked like they had the pin, but Dash put Dawson's foot on the ropes as the referee counted 3. They thought they won the tag titles. They did not. And
they went for it again, I believe, right?
Yeah, but they got taken out. Ciampa got taken out. Reverse figure 4 on Gargano. He had a tap out.
Yeah. Well, they hit the knee, the leg stomp like they did the Big Cass.
Yeah.
A couple months back. Yeah, same ending.
It was a great match. True old school heat. A bunch of the heels got cheered. Not these guys. They got real heat. It was awesome. Awesome. And it made sense. It wasn't that like heel heat where it's like, oh, it's so stupid that they lost. No. They got real, honest to God, legit heat. They left, and Gargano and Ciampa just sold the agony of defeat so well, just looking at each other. Ciampa's patting Gargano on the back. This was great wrestling match, and one of the best of the year in any company. This was excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, and the shame of it is when the Revival does get called up to the main roster, I don't see them with this kind of. I just don't.
You know what? You know what? I don't know, man. The efforts that they've had in a lot of these matches this last year or so, it's hard to deny them now, man. At first I was like,
can they get the same heat? Can they be the same?
Absolutely. If you give them the same push, I think.
But that's the whole thing. They won't do it.
I think they will.
The main roster.
I think they will. I
hope they would, man. They're so good.
I think they will. I think if they get. If they're allowed to be the Revival that they are here, I think they will. I mean, look, just the tag team division is not the priority for WWE, but you know what? If you just let them tear it up with like other tag teams like the New Day and the Club and do what they do, they'll get over. I think they will get over. Could be wrong, but I think they'll get over.
If you don't like them as a team, you just don't get pro wrestling.
Yeah. We had Asuka beat Bayley to retain her title. This was a really, really good match. Bayley got a huge reaction. Crowd was definitely there to see Bayley, and she got the win after kicking Bayley in the head.
Got the win.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, Asuka got the win after a spinning kick to Bayley's head. There was a ton of strikes that Bayley ate. There was one point in the match where Bayley was like, you know what? I'm fed up. I'm going for this. Just attacking Asuka. going all out, like Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, but unfortunately she paid for it. She lost. They hugged afterwards. She hugged Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks at ringside. It was funny because she got booed when she hugged Charlotte. And,
She hugged her mom. She hugged Izzy.
She hugged her mom. She hugged Izzy, who was crying. That was so cute. And she went back. Crowd chanted, "Thank you, Bayley." And I guess that's Bayley's last NXT match. What a way to go out.
Down, we talked about this earlier. To me, it just felt like it was missing something.
I thought a little bit.
I don't think it lived up to the first match.
I think it was better than the first match because I think the first match ended so abruptly that crowd didn't know how to react. Whereas now they figured, okay, they kind of know Asuka more. They know that this match can end anytime. I think the fact that it was also both were baby faces.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think either one. The fans wanted to see either lose, but yeah, it was still. I thought it was still an awesome match.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was. I didn't think it lived up to the hype. Honestly, right. and to be honest, we're going to talk about the main event, but I felt kind of the same way.
Well, you know what? Even though I like both matches, I will say this: I've had a lot of people tell me that. So you're not the only one, and that's nothing against the effort of the people.
No, great effort.
It just something was a little missing. I kind of felt that way with the main event. I thought the entrance was great. Nakamura had this violinist come out, play a little bit of violin music, and then start the red lights dimmed. And he starts playing the music. Dun, 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 dun. And it was amazing to see Nakamura come out, just move with the flow of the music and just everything. The crowd was humming along. They reacted to this guy like a rock star. Okay? He is like the Michael Jackson of pro wrestling. He's a smooth criminal. He is amazing. He just before he even stepped in the ring, this guy had him in the palm of his hand. I know NXT is the third brand and very important for WWE's future as far as building stars and getting them ready and everything else. But this guy needs to be on Raw or SmackDown ASAP. This guy is the best. This guy is the best. In terms of getting a connection with the crowd and everything, the it factor, just making the most out of his connection with the crowd. He did that tonight. The other night. He really did. It was great. Samoa Joe came out. They had a really good match, physical match, but like you said, I thought there was something missing here. And look,
I thought it was going to be more physical.
Yes.
If that's possible. Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was going to be a little more physical, even though Joe may have broken his jaw. I think, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe the tag match burned some people out. I don't really know. Fans were chanting his name. They were singing. I'll say this. My section was really annoying because I had this douche who was in a Stone Cold shirt say Nakamura sucks. So the crowd started chanting at him, "You suck." And then some people chanted, "Delete, delete, delete" at him, which would have been funny, except it was an audible part of the crowd. And it was during the main event featuring two of the best wrestlers in the world. So it really pissed me off. And I normally don't get mad about fans chanting stuff because they can chant whatever they want. But this is the main event. It's for the title. These are two great workers. Like, be a little respectful. Don't give this idiot attention. I was a little annoyed by that. And then I had some geek a couple rows behind me keep chanting, "Samoa Joe's overrated. Nakamura's overrated. This guy's overrated." I think he just did it because he thought it was funny. But, like, man, if somebody, like, came and, like, hit him with, like, a lead pipe, I'm not saying I would do it, but if somebody did and just, kind of stunned him for a few minutes, I'm just saying I wouldn't feel bad. So, yeah, we had the match. It was really good. But, yeah, I felt like it was missing something. You know what I mean? I thought the work was very strong, but it was something was missing. Yeah, I'd say something was missing. And then, yeah, Nakamura got the win with Kinshasa. It was still a great moment. Still very cool. I don't know. It was weird. I mean, I think maybe the crowd, maybe it's one of those cases where it's the same thing with the Asuka match. The crowd likes both guys and don't necessarily want to see either guy lose.
Could be, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I did feel like the crowd was not tired, but
maybe
it was
they were expecting more too.
They felt a little. They felt a little tempered. I don't know. At least from where I was saying, it felt a little tempered. But great moment. I'm glad I got to go. And if there's an NXT show near you, either a house show or a takeover, go out of your way to see it. It was awesome. It was a great impulse purchase. I'm glad I made it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Hey, just real quick, not talking about NXT, but going back to the Universal title, if you have $429, you can pre-order it on WWE Shop. Here's the kicker. The expected in-stock date, Monday, December 12th. So,
All right, well,
makes no sense.
Well, we got to get going because it's already late here. But Scott, you want to get to some comments here, including Mr. Racer, who's complaining we didn't shout him out, except only like once?
We talked about, how many times do you need? Randy Orton lost. He bled like a baby. What more do you want me to say, dude?
Yeah, we're saying that because Mr. Racer's a huge Randy Orton fan.
No, I agree with him at this point, though. I don't understand build up the match and have it end like that. I don't get it. I guess Orton's gonna go away for a while again. I would assume.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand it. I think they did a disservice to him by having him, barely beat The Miz a couple weeks ago and wrestle for the last couple weeks. I don't think that helped him. Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed with that. I really was. I'm on his side for once.
Yeah, it was different. I'm just going through Twitter.
Angel says, I hope we get the perfect 10 versus the glorious one. That would be interesting.
Oh, my God.
Just for the crowds. I still think it would be great to have Big E versus Road Dogg in a crowd off as well. But that's just me.
Man, yeah.
NXT should have the SmackDown spot. They should have an hour on Raw at least.
This is the first time Lesnar and Orton happened since 2002.
They said this is the first time on pay-per-view it happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure it was.
Yeah.
It was. All right. Did anybody chant steroids at Brock Lesnar? I don't think anybody did. I'm kind of surprised they didn't. It just shows the fans don't care, really.
Maybe they didn't have... Which, actually, Brock didn't look... he looked like Brock. I mean, I didn't notice,
Yeah.
I didn't... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to put it, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. How great was this for the Bullet Club as far as the weekend goes? Oh, it was great because Adam Cole won the ROH title. Kenny Omega, last week won the New Japan G1 tournament. First North American to win that. And then, first real North American considered to be from North America. Right. And then, Finn Balor wins the title. And AJ Styles beat John Cena.
Yes.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
WWE is definitely changing. First ever Japanese wrestler to hold a major title, and they have two of them now on NXT. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's
and
unique.
You know what? It just killed. Can we just forever killed? And it should have been killed a long time ago. But let's just after this weekend, can we just bury the myth of if a star's not from here or blah blah blah? They can't get over. Shinsuke Nakamura, Asuka, Conor McGregor, shut up, go away. All you need is an open mind. It's the same thing with Hollywood. Oh, this person can't draw. This person can't draw. Just if you have an open mind and you give people a chance who are talented, okay, and you allow fans to get behind them, they can deliver, no matter where they're from, no matter what language they speak,
no matter what size they are.
Exactly. There you go. And all right, we'll take one last one here. What do you expect on Monday Night Raw?
Something to happen. I just don't know what it is.
Good one, Scott. Wow, good.
I just don't know what it is. Yeah. I mean, no, because it's now basically, like the night after WrestleMania. And it's a shame because something big is going to happen and SmackDown's just going to be SmackDown.
All right, hang on. Okay, before we go, do you think we're getting Shane versus Brock?
At WrestleMania?
No. Just next pay-per-view.
God, I hope not.
Oh. Well,
if you're going to do that, and I don't want to see Undertaker versus Brock again, but you better have that happen.
Oh my God. All right, enough.
I can't even come up with the word, but there's no way in this universe that match could even happen and remotely have anything to it. Because if you thought Shane pissed over everybody who took a last ride and a choke slam and this and that from The Undertaker for the last 25 years, if he kicked out of Brock Lesnar's moves, Come on.
All right. Well, before we go, let's give a quick shout out to some of the people that watched us and tweeted us tonight. Alan Wu, Fidel Cashflow, Sean Banner, Zach McGibbon, who's become a pretty damn good commentator in pro wrestling. So you can follow him at Raw is Gibby. Shout out to him, man. He's doing very well for himself. Raymond Rice 6, Stephen Shaw, Brother Henry, a.k.a. Jeremy Bowers, at Jeremy8911, Kristen 6, Candace Cordelia. Even Ask WWE Network tweeted me, although they tweeted me when I tweeted out a complaint, and they want me to take a survey, which I may or may not take. Shout out to Talvin Kipapa. Shout out to my man Paul Lazenby, Freddie Mitchell, Sam Pack, Dan Foster, Kobe Hansaw, Opede, Chuck McManus, Russ the Bromance, SSB Prime, Justin Reside, Christian Johnson, T. Ray Jones. The list goes on and on here. Angel 92, Terrell Scott, Clifford Nelson, David Schneider, a.k.a. Dave the Wave. And is there anybody else?
Manpreet, of course. Mr. Racer 1029.
Manpreet. Low Tupu, my man from Cali. What's going on, bro? Maybe I'll be in your neck of the woods very soon, hopefully. Jaden Bushi. And I think, all right, well, we got a few other ones here. Skirt. And yeah, if I missed anybody, we'll get you next time on the Tuesday night podcast. If there's anything big that really goes on Raw, I might do a video blog real quick. But typically, we've been doing live recaps of Raw and SmackDown Tuesday night after SmackDown Live. So Tuesdays, 10 p.m. as usual, you'll be able to catch us in regards to live recaps. Speaking of big events, Scott, that weekend of September 11th is going to be a very busy weekend for me. You want to know why?
Why is that, sir?
Because not only am I covering Backlash, of course, when I get back home, but I will be for 1 week in Cleveland, Ohio, live covering CM Punk's UFC debut at UFC 203. So feel free to follow me on Twitter at Fred Rachani at Sports Courier, because I will be having plenty of UFC 203 updates. It's been a while since I've covered a live UFC, but they hit me up, said, hey, you got a credential? I said, sweet. Guess I better plan a trip to Cleveland. Maybe I'll head up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Maybe I'll tour around in the city that LeBron James and Jim Brown built. So
I was there a couple years ago. You do know it's Cleveland, right?
Listen, man.
I'm just saying,
Listen,
brother.
Man.
Look, I thought it was a pretty nice city overall. It was an old city, but it's Cleveland. Take the 45-minute drive down south, hit up Route 77, and go to Canton.
Oh, for the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
If I have time in between the press conference, the open workouts, the weigh-ins, the fights, and the post-fight press conference, perhaps I will. But I think I'm going to be pretty tied up with fight week. So that's what you can expect from me. And right here, we'll try to get as much coverage as humanly possible of CM Punk's upcoming fight and perhaps his impending doom. But, folks, I want to hear from you. What do you think about SummerSlam? What do you think about the future of WWE? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us, Facebook us, do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this recap of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn II and SummerSlam 2016, please like, share, take care. If you're a Madden fan, subscribe to my gaming channel, youtube.com/TSCGaming. My Madden review will be up about an hour after Raw, Tuesday at midnight. Stay tuned. And until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the matches.